Yeah, congrats to St. John's. I thought Coach Patino had his guys ready to go. I thought the start of the game they really played with force early, and our guys settled in, over the course of the rest of the half. Obviously, St. John's foul trouble helped us because we weren't playing against Zuby and Hopkins for the majority of the half. Second half was a different story. Those guys were dominant. There's a reason Zuby is a preseason player of the year. I think that's exactly what he is. For us, I thought there was a lot of guys on our team that did good things at different parts of the game. We just didn't have that enough and consistently enough. A couple components of the game that really hurt us and gave St. John's an edge are turnovers. 19 turnovers, which normally were very, very good taking care of the ball. But they were just able to impose their will against us on too many plays, whether it was the press, trying to fight the ball inbounds, or some of the stuff where they were denying passes, and then rebounding. I thought at halftime we were in pretty good position rebounding-wise, but the second half was a different story. Zuby was a load down there. Other guys on their team scrapped out loose ball rebounds, and then they were able to make us pay when they got second and third options.
Just without BG, Caden got in foul trouble. How hard was it to match up with their front court? And you guys were going small ball for long stretches there?
Yeah, I mean, it was going to be tough. Zuby's a tough matchup regardless, and, they all play hard. We decided to, kind of go small for a lot of the game just because they have an imposing front court, but they do play four perimeter guys. Hopkins is strong and aggressive, but he's a perimeter player. He's like a small forward that's really strong and aggressive. I thought Demarius gave us some good minutes tonight, but I'll tell you what, the combination of Zuby's physicality, it took its toll on us from a foul standpoint, getting to the foul line, and then their guys cutting off of him. Sellers was terrific. He's one of the best cutters I've seen in quite a while. The way that he cut and moved. I don't know how many times he dribbled tonight, but it wasn't a lot. He got most of his baskets from cutting and ball movement, and those guys finding him off of screens and off of cuts.
The pressure leading to the turnovers, was it just like speeding up the decision making, or what do you think caused the turnovers?
I think the ones that were the most disappointing were the ones on inbounds passes, and we typically do a really good job with that. But we had some young guys out there that even though we worked on it, I think the physicality might have got them on their heels a little bit, and then there was some plays where we didn't have anyone to throw the ball into, and you can only call timeout so many times. We got to get better at cutting with violence, meeting the ball, which again normally our guys are pretty good at, but St. John's deserves a lot of credit for that.
Coach Smart, I wanted to hear your thoughts on the St. John's forward play and what is the challenge coming against game planning for a room like that?
You said their forward play?
Yeah, the forward play.
Well, Zuby, I mean, I remember him in high school. He was in high school. I was still coaching at Texas, and he's always had like an energy about him, and now he's a grown man. It's really impressive the development that's occurred with him here under Coach Patino and his staff. So he's just always going to have the highest motor on the floor, period. I don't know if there'll be a game this year where someone else has a better motor than him. Our guys try to match and exceed that, but we were unsuccessful in that. Hopkins is a guy that, 3 years ago when he was at Providence, he had 29 points and 22 rebounds against us in a game. So that's what he's capable of. And, he went through the injury and he's made his way back, and it's good to see him moving really, really well because I know he went through a lot. But they have guys that come off the bench that play with force, that play their role, and then they go to the glass. And, again, I thought in the first half we did a nice job. Anytime you can hold St. John's to 4 offensive rebounds in a half, you feel pretty good about that. But then the second half was a different story.
Coach Patino talked a lot about it. He gave you praise for the fact of the way you prepared this team for tonight. And coming off the game against Villanova and just how you took them to the wire, you came out with a lot of physicality. Tell us a little bit about how you prepared your players, what you were expecting for tonight.
Well, we have high character guys. I mean, they care. They want to win. They prepare the right way. And we knew that playing against St. John's, you better match their force with your own force. Otherwise, it's going to be really, really tough. And, we had a lot of plays in the first half, early in the second half, where we did exactly that. We did not do a good job sustaining that, and there was a stretch there. There was a run in the second half where they were able to extend the lead significantly. We did not play with enough force. So for us, it's understanding it's a 40-minute game, and especially when you go on the road, there cannot be a lull in your physicality, your aggressiveness, and most importantly, your connection as a team to go accomplish something very, very specific in the moment, like getting a stop against a really good team. And that's an area for us to continue to grow. I choose to believe we've got guys on our team that can do that and can get really, really good at that, but we clearly got a ways to go.
You talked about getting easy buckets for Chase in transition. He had those today. What did you see out of him today?
Well, I thought he played with a lot more aggressiveness in the first half, and that got him going, and then he continued to attack in the second half. It was nice to see him get in the paint a lot more. So offensively, this was a real step in the right direction. Kind of looked more like the Chase earlier in the year. The thing is right now, and this is probably, unrealistic and a lot, too much to ask. But it's like we're asking a guy to do a whole lot. We need him to do that. We need him to stabilize our team on the defensive end as well. We need him to be damn near perfect defending screening action, which is, it's a game of mistakes. But, he gets tired sometimes. But I thought this was a step in the right direction, at least in terms of his aggressiveness and getting back to Chase Ross type of violence plays. Now we need to build on that and as a team, supplement what he's doing and NJ's doing.
We've seen this team play better in the last couple of weeks. I mean, where do you think the most growth has come from in the recent games?
Well, I just think that I think, Ben, as you know, we've had some really challenging games this year. We've had, really since the beginning of the year, we've had our share of adversity. I think our guys are understanding more and more that the only way out is through, and they have pride. And so, when we've played well in, I would say, our last few games, 3-4 games, it's a stretch of 5 or 6 or 7 minutes where I know I say this a lot, but we've got 5 guys that are lost in the fight and connected with each other around doing something that they all want just as much, if not more, than anyone else ever affiliated with our program. And we have to sustain that over 40 minutes to even have a chance against a team like this. They got, Hall of Fame coach as good as anyone to ever do it. They've got really good, experienced, tough-minded, aggressive players, and they've got a heck of a home crowd behind them. So when you add all that stuff up, for us, there cannot be a lull of 3, 5, 7 minutes where we don't have what I just described. And even then, some things are going to go against you. You might miss. We had a stretch where we missed a couple stone-cold layups in a row. Man, you got to be so stubbornly defiant to any type of woe is me mindset that's trying to creep in, because once that does, you got no chance.